Hey everyone, welcome back to Move Ahead with Dalia. On today's show, I feature Freddie Ramos from the North Center at Metro Family Services. We're talking about free programs like the Family Connects, Health Equity, and the Workforce. It's a free 10-week pre-apprenticeship construction program. Take a listen, you don't want to miss it. Hi Freddie.
Hi, Dalia.
Thank you for being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
So you are the program supervisor for the North Center at Metro Family Services, correct?
Yes.
I'd love for you to tell me about the organization and the North Center where you're at.
All right. So there are many supervisors there because we're a big organization.
Right.
So I'm in charge of two programs, Family Connect Chicago and Health Equity. Metropolitan Family Services has been around for over 100 years. I would say about 160 years. We have about 12 centers across Chicagoland.
Wow.
Even out west to DuPage and Wheaton area.
Wow.
Where I'm located at is Belmont and Central. That location is, they're all called Metropolitan Family Services, but that particular one is called Metropolitan Family Services North, because we're on the north side of Chicago, Belmont and Central. Okay. Our executive director is Roxanne Nava. She's in charge of that center and two other ones north of there, one in Skokie and one in Evanston.
Oh, okay.
And we have many programs. Hopefully we'll have time today to talk about not only my programs, but some of the other ones as well that we're excited about.
Yes, absolutely. I know we met through the Housing Expo in October. And I loved your energy. You gave so much information to me. I was just like, oh my gosh, I got to have you on the podcast. Because there is a lot of stuff, right, that your center is doing in the community.
Exactly.
Can you give me, you said you're in charge of two areas of that center. Tell me a little bit more about those.
Those two programs is, the first one is called Family Connect Chicago. We started that about a year and a half ago. So it's fairly new. Really excited about that program because it's dealing with new mothers that are having babies.
Okay.
And there's only two requirements, and for some reason people can't understand that. We think there's more. There's only two requirements. You have to be you have to live in the city of Chicago, and you have to have birth of your newborn child in one of the birthing hospitals in Chicago.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
Doesn't work. You don't have to be 400% below the poverty level. You don't have to be a U.S. citizen.
No other requirements.
You don't have to have a visa. You don't have to have a job. You don't have to have, it's not limited. If you have 3 kids and you have another kid, you still qualify. None of that applies. Just two things. You live in Chicago, and you have your baby in one of the birthing hospitals in Chicago. You meet those two requirements, you qualify.
Okay.
And if you do that, what happens? This program provides, it's a short-term visitation, lasts about maybe 3 months, and it really depends on case by case. Mm-hmm. But what they do is, first of all, they do an assessment of the family, and they provide everything, all the baby essentials for the baby.
Really?
I'm not just talking about diapers and the pacifier. I'm talking about the baby carriage, the stroller, the car seat.
The expensive stuff.
The expensive stuff. Mm-hmm. And whatever they need, clothes, they give everything to the baby. Mm-hmm. And then after they do the assessment of the baby and find out what he needs, then they do assessment of the mother, and then they do an assessment of the family. The family could be just husband. Some cases, the husband, and then the live-in grandmother. Some cases, there's the husband and 3 other kids. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter. They do assessment of everybody.
So it doesn't have to be the firstborn child or anything. As long as the baby was born in Chicago, you said the...
they have to live in Chicago.
And they have to live in Chicago.
And they have to live in Chicago because we do a home visit to do the assessment.
Right.
So we don't want to drive all the way to Joliet.
Right.
So it makes sense for them to live locally in Chicago.
And what's the name of that program?
Family, because we're talking about the family. Family Connects. And because we're connecting to all these services. And then we added the word Chicago because this program also exists in other states as well.
Oh.
So those other programs will probably be Family Connects and then the state that they're in, or the city.
Oh, the city, okay.
Yeah. So this one, when you say Family Connects Chicago, they're talking about Chicagoland.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah. So and then when it comes to the rest of the family, if they need some services, we provide the referral programs for them and the contact information, and then we stay with them until they get their supplies for the baby, and then they make the connections to the different services that they need, if they need any.
Yeah.
That's the most critical part, I think, for me, because a lot of agencies give you the referrals, you go, and they're done with you're done with you. They go on to the next number, and that's where the problem starts. Because if the language barrier, because of the waiting list, because of X amount of reasons, they don't make the connection or they don't make that phone call. When they go back the second and third time, they make sure that those referrals that they desperately needed, that they were able to take advantage of it. And for whatever reason, if you gave you 3 referrals, you made 2 of them, but the third one didn't, well, why didn't that work? Well, then let's give you another one. Because, there's not just one agency doing the different services.
There's a lot of guidance.
Yes.
Very
And I
good.
think that's the most critical part, because when we leave there, they're set up. We leave, and then we kind of hand them off to those other departments.
That's wonderful.
But the good thing about Family Connection, why did this start? Because a lot of mothers were dying, or either dying or suffering. And when they did this study, they found out, well, why are they suffering? What are the triggers that causing this postmortem depression? And they found out there's a lot of triggers. They're making a little bit of money. All the little bit of money they're making is going to the baby, and the rest of the family's suffering. And then when the rest of the family suffer, the mother suffers. And if the baby's suffering, the mother suffers. The family suffers, the mother suffers. So what they did was they came up with this program to eliminate some of those triggers. So they won't have to worry about the needs of the baby. They won't have to worry about the needs of the family, because they're getting those services. And now the mother's happy. Mother's happy if the family's happy.
Yeah.
And that's how this program started.
That's beautiful.
So we're excited about that program. We're still fairly new. We're across all of Chicago. All of Chicago's been divided into 6 sections from A to F. We're Section F. We were the last one to join the group, because they started in the South Side as a pilot program 2 years ago. And then it got approved, and then they started expanding. Expanding. And now we just joined, like I said, about a year and a half ago. And so we're excited about the program. We're publicizing it and trying to get it out to all the different communities. All the time we do an outreach. This quarter, we've got some professional flyers made and brochures. So we're strategically targeting doctors' offices, clinics, OB-GYNs, so we can go in there and talk to them and actually drop that professional literature and leave it in their lobby so the families can pick it up.
Fantastic.
So that's where we're at with that program.
That's fantastic. So that's Family Connects, and the second one?
The second one is called, oh my God, Health Equity. I'm sorry, Health Equity. That program involved, at the beginning when we started that program, we were during the COVID, so we were the organizers of these vaccination events. So we were the connectors between the nurses that were giving the shots and the community. So we went out and found schools and churches and businesses where we can host these events in the local community in the Northwest Side. And then we combined these people, we did the advertising, and people would come and get their shots. After COVID kind of, it's still around, but the heyday of it is over now, thank God. We switched our gears to trying to be strategic to find out what the community really wanted. Chicago did a study. They found out there are 6 things that they wanted to kind of tackle in terms of goals. And then they gave us, the owners, they gave us those 6 goals. They said, we want you to take these 6 goals in your community, find out which one of these 6 is number 1 in your community, and then we want you to tackle that in your community. So it was anything from food access, community development, safety, and of course housing, and there's a couple more. When we took that to our community, we did a survey. We surveyed over 500 people at the different outreach events. We did 4 focus groups, and we did 3 workshops to find out the pulse of the community. And the number 1 issue in the far northwest region was there's a program out there called G.R.E.A.T. It's offered by the Chicago Police Department. We want that program expanded. And that was their solution for public safety. Because when you say public safety, some people want more police. Right. Some people want more police on the train station. Some people want more police downtown. Some people want more lights. So public safety is a broad.
Yes.
So we took that to these communities and we narrowed it down. And they told us they want this program that's in existence. It's called the G.R.E.A.T. program, the Gang Resistance and Education program, training, stands for GR.E.A.T. They want that expanded. You know, a lot of parents in our community say, you know, I have a nephew and niece, they go to this school and they got this program that why don't they offer it at my school? Some of them go to, in summertime, they go to these summer camps and they are introduced to the GR.E.A.T program there. Well, why don't they offer that in the park by my house? Why do I have to go all the way to the Lakeshore Drive for my son to experience this program? So our community said, we want that program, we want you to expand it, bring it to the far northwest side, and that's what we're doing.
Wow.
So right now we're working with Mary Lyons as our pilot at our first school to kind of kick it off, and hopefully if everything works out right, we'll be doing that in February of this year.
Really?
Yeah, and that program is it's really 6 weeks, 1 day a week for 2 hours. We were able to kind of adjust it for our needs, so we reduced it to 4 weeks. It's still the same information, we just crammed it into 4 weeks. And at the end of the 4 weeks, they get a certificate that they pass the course, and hopefully they'll get more than just a certificate, they'll get the knowledge of resisting gangs and not getting involved with them.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's a uniformed police officer that's giving the course.
That's wonderful.
And the one thing I want to say for the Chicago Police Department, these police officers, they take 200 hours of training, certified training, to be a certified instructor for the GR.E.A.T program.
Do they?
It teaches them not only how to run the program, but how to talk to kids.
Right.
You can't, you talk to kids differently than you talk to adults. Right. So they show them how to grab their attention for an hour. Not only for that one meeting, but for those series of meetings, and also to get involved and be engaged and really learn the program.
Yeah, that's wonderful, because the kids definitely need to see the policemen engaged with them at very young age. Yes.
Another thing that came out of those workshops and focus groups and surveys was housing. They want more information on housing, and that's where we met. That was our first housing program that we gave, and we plan to give last year, and we plan to give many more this year.
So the one I attended that I participated in was the first one. I'm so happy. I loved it. It was a successful expo, I thought. Met a lot of great people and met a lot of people in your staff in the area, in the building. Let's talk about the staff. Can you share a little bit about the people that are working in the center you're at?
Right. Well, my staff, so I'm in charge of those two programs. Family Connect Chicago, we have 2 people that are helping me, Leslie Solis and Jacqueline Hernandez. And they were, and even though they're 2 separate programs, we kind of work together when we do outings like that housing one. So they were there.
Everybody's collaborating.
Collaborating, right? And then for Health Equity, we have one worker, and her name is Abigail Corral.
Okay.
So that's my staff.
Awesome.
But we've, at the beginning, before I had them, we were kind of doing it by myself.
Really?
And so, trust me, with those 3 people, we get a lot more done, a lot shorter days, and I think we're a lot more effective, too.
Yeah. Well, I know that you're very passionate about what you do, and I'm sure your staff is as well. And I also see many times that people that work in nonprofit organizations like Metro Family, they put a lot of time into this work, a lot of their own personal time. So I hope you disconnect too, because I'm sure it takes a lot of the energy and time out of not just being there during the day and, the weekends, you're involved in events, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and you're right. If to do this work, is you're not doing it for the money, you really do it because your heart's into it. Yeah. Because there are weekends we work, and sometimes the events are in the evening, so you work all day, and then there's an event in the evening. So your heart has to really be into it, and you really need to believe in what you're standing for.
Absolutely.
And myself and my staff, I think, are outstanding, and I think we're the right combination for these 2 programs. Yeah. We do try to focus on family time as well. Yeah. So if we do work a weekend or we do work extra hours, then I give them flex time so they can recuperate that time.
That's wonderful.
So because they're so I'm glad they call it flex time, because they're being flexible with us. Let's be flexible with them.
That's
so
right.
you still get your 2 days off a week, and
that's right.
And try not to go over 40. So
yeah. So let's talk about you. So how did you get to this position? Like, give me a little bit about your background and what you did before and now. How'd you get there?
Okay. Well, my background, it started when after high school, I went to the Army.
Well, thank you for servicing our country.
Oh, thank you so much. I wanted to be the first Latino Puerto Rican five-star general. That was my goal. So unfortunately, I got injured. So I'm a disabled vet now. But luckily, after my tour duty, I went to college, and now I graduated as an electrical engineer. So it wasn't all bad.
No.
After that, I started working, and that's how I ended up in Chicago. I'm not from Chicago.
No? Where are you from?
From Puerto Rico.
So you were in Puerto Rico, you grew up there, and you joined the military when you were in Puerto Rico?
No, from here. What happened was we were in Puerto Rico, but then we're from Indiana. Indiana's where all the steel mills are.
Okay.
And those companies went to Puerto Rico. Hey, we got some jobs. And my dad was one of the ones that, a couple of hundred that came to America and started working at the steel mills, and we ended up in Indiana.
Oh, I see.
So I was raised in Indiana, close to Chicago, but not from Chicago.
Midwest.
Yes. And then when I graduated, I got hired with Commonwealth Edison at the nuclear power plant, and that's where I ended up my first job here at Braidwood, and I worked at Braidwood and Byron. Those were number 11 and 12. They have 12 nuclear power plants. That was number 11 and 12. So they were fairly new. I loved that job. You right out of school, everything's labeled. If it's not labeled, you labeled it. That was the best job I had. You worked 7 days a week, but I was single.
You were young.
It was young. That was the right time to do it.
You're still young, though.
And so then from there, I worked there about 5.5 years. And then from there, I went to Amical Pipeline, and that's where we traveled across the United States. Because their pipeline runs from Texas all the way to Chicago. So we did pumping stations for them. We did that for a couple of years. After that, I ended up I kind of hit all the utilities. After that, I think I had my business for like a year. And then I said, I think this is too much work. I'm working 90-hour days. It's time to get a vacation. So that means being an engineer again. So I went to People's Gas. And I was out there again in the suburbs, close to Braidwood, where the nuclear power plant is at. That place, it was in Elwood, for those in your audience that are familiar with that area in Joliet. And then we worked there for a year or two. And then from there, I ended up going to AT&T. And then I stayed at AT&T for 25 years.
Wow. And
I was wondering, why never I left AT&T? Because AT&T is so big. You know, when I was there, we worked at the central offices where you make your phone, and when they do the lottery, that goes to the central offices. So I did a couple of years of that. Then we had a cable company, and did a couple of years of that. Then we have an alarm company. I did a couple of years of that. So I think I stayed there for 20 because there's so many different jobs.
Right.
And then the last 10 years, I think I ended up in IT.
Okay.
I was a project manager and in charge of IT.
So you've been working since you were 5?
Oh, no. 17, I think, is when it all started with the Army.
That's awesome.
And then I retired, or I should say they retired because I really wanted to work a little bit longer because my kids was still in college. And so after that, I ended up working with Northwest Center.
Okay.
And that's how I ended up at Northwest Center. I told myself, why retire? Let's do a job that's kind of fun. Because, you know, engineering, you have multi-million-dollar projects. I had my staff, I had them in India, and I had them all across the United States.
Wow.
So let's do something, now that I retired, let's do something that's beneficial to the community, but kind of fun. And that's where I ended up in Northwest Center.
Really?
And 3 blocks from my house. Northwest Center is 3 blocks from my house. Never been that close in my life to a job. And I was helping the community, and I was doing something I never did before. I was talking to people. I talked to people in all those jobs, but this time it was different. I was talking to them, depending if they talk Spanish, I talked Spanish. I was never allowed to talk Spanish in none of those years. I know. You know, at one point, it was, hey, no Spanish. I even went through that phase. But there at Northwest Center, I was allowed to speak Spanish, and it helped because a lot of clients were Spanish speaking and speak very little English. Yeah. So it allowed me to grow in that way. Yes. To go back to my roots and help not only my community that I live in for now 20 years. So I live close to my job. I'm helping my community that I love, and that was a perfect combination.
Wow, that's wonderful.
And from there, I ended up moving to Metropolitan Family Services.
Okay, and how long have you been with them?
I've been there a little over 2 years now.
Good.
And still in my community. Instead of 3 blocks away, it's 5 blocks away now.
Yeah.
So I'm still helping my neighbors. I call them my neighbors because everybody that comes through those doors, they live in they're in that area. So I consider them all my neighbors, and we still get to talk Spanish. Can you believe that?
Well, I think that's another reason why I love what I do in real estate is because, well, one, I meet people from all walks of life, right? Like I was mentioning to you, my friend from Venezuela.
Yes.
But also because I get to speak Spanish, I get to connect with the community, and it's just a beautiful thing.
I think so too.
Right?
Yes.
Speaking of Venezuela, let's talk a little bit about the situation with the immigration and how your organization is helping them.
Okay. Well, Metropolitan offers a bunch of programs. Mm-hmm. We just, and all those programs are based on grants that we win from the city.
Okay.
We just won a grant from the city called Illinois Welcoming Center. So that is a grant specifically designed to assist the immigrants in the process of getting housing and getting a job and getting their visa or their citizenship.
Wonderful.
So and also tying them to other resources as well. Yeah. So we just won that grant. We've been shadowing another agency called Family Focus. They've been doing it for 2 years. Now they're actually focusing more on the Venezuelan now, but they've been kind of doing it for 2 years already. And so they just fell right into that, and we've been shadowing them and to seeing how they do it and how they go to the shelters and kind of learning the process before we got our official training. So right now we got the grant, we're just waiting for our training now. Okay. But and while we were waiting, we said, well, let's start joining some of these meetings and let's start shadowing these other centers so that we're better prepared. So that when we start taking the training, we'll be able to come in there running.
Wonderful.
So we don't have a start date yet because we still have to get our training, but we're excited about that one as well.
Wonderful. Well, we know it's badly needed.
They're in my area. We see them at the police stations. We see them at the park. So it's not like we have to drive to downtown to see them. They're in our neighborhood. So those are the ones we're going to be helping.
Yeah. Okay. Wonderful.
So we're excited about that too.
Yeah.
I'll get more excited once we start, but.
Yeah. No. Well.
I'm looking forward to it though.
You have a lot going on, right?
Yes.
And adding to that, the immigration program is. Of course, we need it now in the new year. We're in 2024 now. This all started rolling in, last summer?
Yeah.
So 6 months maybe or more. And I know that there's a lot of organizations involved in servicing the immigrants, clothing, food, the shelter, all of that. So. And
they have more than 2 or 3. I think when we got added, we were added with a group of 11.
Yeah.
And I think before that they had 30 more. That kind of started it. So on top of the 30, they added 11. So it's just that it's a crisis.
It's a crisis.
We need to process these people, and we need more centers.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you for all the work that you and your staff, and of course the North Center does for the Belmont-Cragen community and the north side of Chicago. You mentioned that Metropolitan Family Services is in 12 locations?
12 locations across Chicago.
Wow.
Yes.
And some are in the suburbs.
And we have one that I had she was one of my workers when I was at Northwest Center. She was one of the programs. I had 3 programs when I was at Northwest Center. One of them was the older adult program, and she was on that team. Now she's working at DuPage.
Yeah.
Center as part of Metropolitan Family Services.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that's great. Is there anything else before we wrap up? Is there anything else that we may have not mentioned that you want to talk about? Because I know there's a lot of stuff.
We offer like 20 different programs. Of course, you got our website on here. They can click through all those.
Well,
but I do want to mention one that I'm excited about.
Okay, before you do that, what's the website?
The website is www.metrofamily.org.
Okay. And your location is, what's the address?
The address where I work is if you're familiar with the area, it's Belmont and Central. The physical address is 3249 North Central.
Okay.
That building has 2 front doors.
Okay.
They're right next to each other. I think the other one is 3255. That's the door that goes into our Head Start school.
Okay.
And then so we have a big building divided. I think they're like 1/3 of the building, and we're 2/3 of the building.
Right.
So when you come in, you'll see 2 doors in that building. The first door closest to the corners is the school, and we're the second door, 32. And the address is right above the door, 3249.
Wonderful. And Mina Roldan was on the podcast last month, and she spoke about the Head Start program and what they do with families and how they help the children and the education. So for any of the listeners that did not listen to that podcast, it's episode 35 with Mina Roldan from Metro Family. So tell me what you were going to say.
Again, we offer many programs, and that's just another one that you interviewed with Mina. One that I want to kind of push right now is I already pushed my GR.E.A.T program and my housing program, but another one we want to push is and of course the FCC one, the Family Connect Chicago. Another one is workforce. There's a federal grant called WIOA. Let me see if I can remember the acronym. That's the acronym WIOA, Workforce Opportunity Initiative Act.
Okay.
We just use the first word just to abbreviate it. We call it workforce, but it's a federal grant, and we're doing a brand new program under that heading. It's called Bridge to Construction. They're doing their first showing of that program, or their open house, if we can call it that, is on January 26th. It's at our center, 3249, and they're going to introduce, as people come through the door, and sign them up for that program. You have to be 18 years or older. We have other programs where you have to be between 18 and 24. That's not this one. It's 18 and above.
Wow.
And that's why I'm so excited about this program.
Wonderful.
We've been doing summer programs for 18 to 24, and I've been complaining. I said, why are you capping it at 24?
Right.
You know, 25, you got people here at 32, 28, they can't apply. They have to go to Maywood. They have to go south to get the same program. And that's why I'm so excited about this program. There is no upper limit. As long as you're over 18, you come in. It's a program, I believe it's 10 weeks long, from Mondays to Thursday, from 9 to 2. It's free to the applicant. They give you the training. When you get done with the training, you're going to have 3 certificates under your belt, and they'll get you a job in construction.
In construction.
For
free.
For free. You know.
Wow.
And that program is very useful. My son went through that program. He didn't go through construction because he's an engineer. He went to his undergrad as an engineer like I did, but he was always interested in coding. COVID, he found himself without a job. I told him about this program. He loved coding. He took that course. They paid for the schooling, $12,000. They found him a job, and now he's doing coding, and he has a small group under his belt.
Wow, that's
so this program doesn't
great testimonial.
Doesn't do the program. The programs are out there. What this program does is connects you to the programs and pays for the program.
Yeah,
that's what this program does. So I'm very excited about this program, especially for construction.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So I hope they see this podcast. We've been advertising it. I'm sure they're going to do many more openings. Once the first wave goes through, they'll do another one and another one and another one. And if we get lucky, maybe they won't do it one after them. Maybe they can do multiples. We'll see.
So how do people find out about it after they listen to the podcast? Do they just have to check on the website or call? They
can go to our website. It's on there too.
Okay.
They can call and our center. 773-371-3700.
Okay.
That'll get you the front office. Tell them you're interested in bridge to construction, or you can you're interested in WIOA, or you're interested in workforce, any one of those 3, and they'll connect you to the supervisor, Roger Sosa, in charge of that program.
Okay, fantastic.
Okay.
So the website is metrofamily.org.
Yes.
On the website, there's a nice big blue button for donate, because all these services, they need money, right?
Yes.
Yes, they do have some funding through the city and maybe the state, but still there's needs for volunteers, there are needs for donations.
Yes,
and
yes.
on the website, the listeners can find all the information, also events that are coming up, like the Housing Expo. Are there any events coming up that you can think of right now that we can mention?
Just the workforce one on 126. That one's definitely coming up. And right now we do have a housing one that we're scheduling. We haven't fixed the date yet.
Okay.
What the next one for us would be the G.R.E.A.T program at Mary Lyons, but it'll be with their elementary kids.
It'll be with their
Yeah,
students.
and that's going to start on February 26th.
Okay.
So that's where we're at right now.
Okay, wonderful.
We do have we did a survey of Portage Park, my team and I, for under health equity to find out, are there any food deserts here, to find out what are the needs in terms of healthcare and housing, and we kind of put that in a PowerPoint. We're going to be doing a presentation on that in collaboration with Portage Park Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
Right now, we're looking at doing that on February 20th. We're looking for a location right now. We're looking at Paw House. That's located on California and Irving Park. That's the senior residence building. We're thinking about hosting it there, and we're going to be inviting once we lock that in, we're going to be sending out flyers and inviting the community to come out.
The community to come out.
Yes.
And learn more and participate.
Learn about what your neighbors are saying they need and what are the wants in that area.
That's wonderful, because many times people don't know where to go when they need things, right?
Right.
They'll go to the alderman or something, but these community organizations are there to listen and to find out the resources to
Exactly.
help the community.
And at that event, and when we do that presentation, we're also in the back of the room, we're going to have some resource tables. So obviously, Metropolitan will be there talking about all their different programs, and we'll invite our partners
Yes.
that also has resource tables.
Yes.
In terms of healthcare and Medicaid, we have a bunch of partners we're going to reach out to, and I won't be surprised. But it's, in that setting, since that building is for the elderly, we'll try to target more of the healthcare folks for
Okay.
that one as well.
Okay, wonderful. And I'm sure that you're on social media, right? Not
Yes.
you, but Metro Family.
Yes, we have the three of them.
Good, good. So
and
Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook,
yes.
so that people can check out, like their pages and learn about the events that are coming up.
Yes, yes.
Okay, fantastic.
So there's always more to come. So.
Yes. Well, there's a lot going on. I want to thank you again, Freddie, for being on the show. I really appreciate you and the staff and the organization. I'm so happy that I met you and everyone there at the Housing Expo, because it opened up another world to me of another amazing nonprofit organization that is really taking care of the community. So thank you again for your taking time out of your busy day. You're a very busy man.
No, but thank you for this opportunity. It just gives this is just another place where we can voice our programs, and
Yes.
I appreciate you having me on the show today.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Hey, thank you so much for listening today. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe so you can keep up with my latest episodes. You can find me on all social media platforms at Dalia the Realtor. To reach me directly, call me at 773-879-4855. I'll see you on the next episode. Make it a great day.